Hello, and welcome to the September edition of Signal Boost. I'm your host, Callie Pruitt, Senior Strategist for Grassroots Advocacy in the APS Office of Government Affairs. And here's your science policy update. This month, APS teamed up with 22 other scientific societies for a Research Relief Week, an effort to raise awareness about the effects of COVID-19 on researchers. In this coordinated effort, APS and the other participating organizations advocated for the RISE Act and asked their members to do so as well. You may remember the RISE Act from advocacy earlier this year. It would authorize $26 billion in supplemental funding to federal science agencies. This additional funding could be used to provide grant extensions to enable the completion of disrupted research, extend the training of graduate students and postdocs to shield them from unpredictable job markets, and support the replacement and refurbishment of lab equipment. Through this effort, APS members added even more letters to our RISE advocacy, bringing our total connections with Congress on the RISE Act to more than 3,100, a truly incredible number. APS would like to extend a huge thank you to everyone who participated in this effort and made it such a success. In the same vein as the RISE Act, a new bill was introduced by House Science Committee Chair Eddie Bernice Johnson of Texas called the Supporting Early Career Researchers Act. This legislation aims to help ensure continuity during the early stages of the careers of our top researchers during the COVID-19 pandemic and through what's expected to be a long recovery. The bill establishes a fellowship program that will enable recent PhD graduates and postdocs to conduct independent research for 2 years, allowing them to further develop and augment their research skills, which will ultimately make these graduates more competitive and prepared for their future career paths. APS President Bill Buxbaum has written a letter to Representative Johnson in support of the act that also outlines some suggestions from APS leadership as the bill moves forward. You can find links to the bill and the letter from President Buxbaum in the description. In other news, the Physicists Coalition for Nuclear Threat Reduction, an APS and Carnegie Corporation sponsored group, held a panel discussion on the New START Treaty and nuclear testing earlier this month, featuring Dr. Frank von Hippel of Princeton University and Dr. Steve Fetter of the University of Maryland. The panel was moderated by Dr. Laura Grego. This was the first event of its kind by the coalition, and it was a resounding success. More than 200 APS members attended, and the coalition launched a new advocacy campaign to ensure no funding for nuclear testing is included in the NDAA that now joins their action on renewing New START. If you'd like to take action on these issues, you can find links to the campaigns as well as to the recording of the panel in the description. If you'd like to join the coalition, you can find a link on the APS website. And finally, appearing in the October edition of APS News is a story about APS's 2019-2020 Congressional Fellow, Laura Gladstone. The piece talks about Laura's experience working with U.S. Senate Committee on Homeland Security and Government Affairs during the last year, particularly throughout COVID-19. We wish Laura well as she moves into the next chapter of her career. Keep an eye out for the story in your October copy of APS News. That's all for this edition of Signal Boost. Have a healthy and safe month, and I'll see you next time.